Turning Point Madison County's mission is to get the proper information into the hands of the people needing help, provide guidance, emergency assistance, and needed ongoing support.
And I'm broken down. Oh, life has got you twisted, tied around.
My name is Sean. This is my story. I was born and raised in Chicago on the South Side. I had two brothers and a sister. We practically raised ourselves on the streets. My brother he committed suicide at the age of 18. I continued to live there as my brother's sister had moved on. Living on the streets, I joined the gang to find acceptance in my life, in which I chose alcohol and drugs, and the gang made me feel whole. Within that lifestyle, I found myself in and out of jail and being more addicted to the outside life in the streets, this corner life, living with whoever I could. As far as my family goes, we had to fend for ourselves. It was hard. My life was hard. It was completely darkness. Didn't want to go to school. Found myself hanging out at a dead end. It was just a dead end life. I had people that I used to call friends who were only there not in time of need, or despair, but in time of just sheer trouble. Living on the streets of Chicago was probably the most trying times of my life. Gang banging was definitely a trying time in my life. With both of my brothers in and out of the hospital, we had continuance. My mother, she could never gain control of us working nights. I ended up being incarcerated at the age of 33. I got married and ended up going to prison. I went to prison for for drug raids. I could not stop that type of lifestyle. It was darkness in there. It seemed like time stood still. It was like I didn't know what to expect. I really felt as if that I had to convert back to the street life. There was no end. I was in and out of lockup, inside of lockup. I ended up losing my wife. I got divorce papers when I was trying to go to barber school. I had no turning point until I found God in my life. And at that point is where my life started to take a turn for the better. I learned that there can always be happiness, and life is what you make it. You don't have to choose the negative. You don't have to be on the forefront of the type of lifestyle that you feel is not right for you. If you continue to do the right thing, as I chose in my life, it took me till I was 48 years old. You choose to do the right thing, do the next best thing, and life is what you make it. It doesn't have to consist of streets. It doesn't have to consist of drugs. It doesn't have to consist of alcohol. It consists of turning your will and life over to the care of God as you understand them. And that is my life today. And that is the way I live. Today, I would not give up my life for the world. I have had numerous ups and downs in my life, and I've regained things that I thought I would never gain back in life. I've learned a lot. I've taken suggestions. I've found that it's not my will. I've been accepted, hang around winners. I do the things today that means more to me in life for the positive. I reach out, I help others, and that's my life today. And I will continue to live that way, God willing, by His grace. God, myself, my family, my program, my kids. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's good to have my family back. It's good to have my life back, to have my life under control. It's good to have things that I thought I needed to force my way into. Feels good not to do my will. Being who you are, don't try to be accepted into life. Don't try and to just force your way into something that you are not. Be who you are. Look for the positive in every negative. There's always a positive out there. Continue to strive forward. Put one foot in front of the other, and always remember to do the next right thing. It's the next best thing in life. You don't have to wait until you're 48 years old. Start your dream, and it can become a reality.
What happened? They want me to tell you what happened. I was living on the streets. I was homeless. I'd already been in and out of prison a couple times. I was on parole. I started using again. As usual, I didn't know what else to do. So the only way I could sort my habit was the same old shit I always did, was breaking in places, robbing, stealing, conning. And I was doing that. And I was breaking in this house, and I don't know, somebody see me or something, and somebody showed up. The person owned the house, their parent, their dad pulled up, and he starts chasing me with this big stick. Well, I ran around, and my ride picked me up, and long story short, I ended up in a cornfield, and there was helicopter dogs, police, a bunch of police, like local police departments, and state police. There was a state police, it was a county, was in a helicopter, Brian Bell. And then, I went ahead and eventually I gave myself up, but it's like 4 hours later. And I was out there, and I just had this overwhelming feeling. I mean, it sounds crazy maybe, but I just felt like God's presence right there. And for some reason, I just knew everything was going to be okay if I just walked out of that cornfield and turned myself in. So that's what happened. And I was on parole getting arrested for a brand new B felony. So yeah, I was looking at a lot of time. So. What was incarceration like? Well, when I went in, it was just first of all, it was a little embarrassing because I've been in and out of that place so many times. And they're on a new B felony on top of a parole violation. Yeah, it wasn't no fun. But I knew what I was in for. I was looking at the habitual, which is a lot of time. So I have to take that 20-year plea bargain, which I did. So what was incarceration like? It sucks. The county jail really sucks. Everybody's worried about their case. They're asking you questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You can't smoke cigarettes. Lucky to get a cigarette in there. Then, you get sentenced to prison, you got to go to RDC. And you know how that is. I mean, if I'm talking to the people I think I'm talking to, you know how RDC is. You know, you go in there, you get stripped down, you're sitting right next to somebody, everybody's naked and they're touching each other, sitting on the bench. You're so close together, and they shave your head and they make you squat and cough and all that bullshit. And then you're wondering what prison you're going to go to. That's always fun waiting on that. And then when you get there, usually when you get there, it's a little better, you know. Man, you know what? I didn't learn anything for a long time. I just kept getting out, and I was in work release 5 times. I was in house arrest twice. I was in prison 3 times. I was on parole from the 2nd time when I caught the 3rd case that sent me back the 3rd time. Well, I learned, it took me a long time to learn shit, but you know, in the meantime, I went to 9 treatment centers throughout all that time. And I did learn some stuff. I went to meetings. I met a lot of good people, and you know, I started going to 12-step meetings. What got me sober? That's what helped me get my life together. That's where I met my sponsor at before I really left the last time. I went back to prison again. He showed up though. And he spoke for me, you know. And I guess the judge might have seen something, you know, back to that cornfield and the God thing that happened. I don't know. I feel like it was a real thing, and I feel like the judge seen it inside of me because I started changing, you know. I learned a lot from him, old timers. What's your life like today? Oh, it's pretty good today. I can't tell I'm getting a little emotional here. But well, that's pretty good. You know, this was 18 years ago when this happened. Yeah. Can you stop it for a minute, man? Stop it. You know, I got my life back. I started with some shitty jobs. Went to ABC, any job, better job, career, right? Well, I found a career. My career, I started working at a halfway house that I lived in. And then I started working for the court system, believe it or not, with other addicts. And then I went to the VA because I'm a veteran, and that's where I work now. Today, you know, I bought my first house back in 2008. My rest was in 2003. I bought another house now. I got 14 acres out here. I'm living in the national forest here in Indiana. And it's pretty nice. You know, I'm not done yet. But you know, that's not the best part. The best part is, you know, my parents have passed away since I got sober. You know, I got to make those amends with them and build those relationships back. My grandkids never seen me not sober. I'm really blessed today. That's it. Final thoughts? Don't ever give up. You know, it's important to realize that we don't know fucking everything. Sometimes it's okay to have our ego hurt a little bit, our pride hurt a little bit, because it saves our lives. You know, to try to get humbled a little bit. You know, I think that's what I needed, was to get humbled down with all this bullshit with the law and everything. Work release prison, you know how humiliating it is going through RDC and all that shit. I never really got used to it. I never felt like I belonged there, but after I was there so long, I just thought that was where I belonged for the rest of my life, but I didn't. You don't either. Don't give up on yourself.
Hi, my name is Travis, and this is my story. For over 20 years, I drank and drove illegally many, many times. Was arrested approximately 8 to 10 times for those offenses. When I finally reached the last DUI, I find myself in a drunk tank for 12 days. This was my bottom. Never knew I could reach so low. Didn't know I could lose what all I lost. But I lost everything. I lost my home. I lost my family. Lost my children. I lost my dogs. Everything was lost due to drinking and driving. While sitting on a drunk tank floor for approximately 12 days, 12 of the longest days of my life, seemed like 12 years. Had a lot of time to reflect on my actions, had a lot of time to think about the possibilities of staying in that jail cell for 20 plus years. That's what I was looking at. Those are the thoughts that were running through my mind for 12 days. It was cold, did not have a blanket, did not have a bed, slept on concrete with about 8 other individuals in the same boat. Many of them didn't have the opportunity that I knew that I was to have shortly thereafter. I learned very quickly that my life was unmanageable. I could not drink like a normal person. I could no longer lie to myself and think that it was okay to drink and get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Couldn't drink and take care of my kids. Couldn't drink and keep my home intact. I couldn't drink and be the father that I needed to be. I couldn't drink and be the son that I needed to be for my parents. For 20 years, I should have been taking care of my family, should have been taking care of my parents and my children, and the only thing I took care of was my alcoholism. Today, I sit here almost 3.5, 4 years sober. My life today is nothing like it was before I went to jail this time. Before I was facing eternity in hell, and before I was facing 19 to 20 years in prison. Today, I'm happy. Today, I've got a life I can be proud of. Today, I have my children in my life. Today, I'm able to be there for my parents. Today, I'm able to share my experiences with those that are still suffering. I get to relay the message of recovery. I get to try to change someone else's life in the same way that my life was changed. I never knew what life was like as an adult without alcohol in my system. Some point in time, every single day, even though I tried to stop 1,000 times. By noon every day, that thought said, okay, I have to have a drink. I have to have that to go on with the rest of my life. I have to do it to wash the dishes. I have to do it to mow the yard. Today, that's no longer a thought. Today, that obsession has left me. Today, that is no longer an option. Today, I get to live a life happy, joyous, and free of alcohol and drugs. I never could have imagined what life would be at 42 years old, giving away over half my life to this disease. Never knew what life had in store for me.
know it's waiting, but it's waiting for you. Does what other people think drive the things you do? I'll let you in on a secret. Listen carefully, they're not thinking about you. They're not thinking about you. Walk out of the darkness into the light. Believe in yourself, you gotta put up a fight. You put your left foot out there in front of your right. Walk out of the darkness and run. Run to the light. Oh, oh. I won't let this world get me down. Gonna get up, stand up, turn this thing around. Make the old devil regret that he ever even messed with the likes of me. First I crawled, then walked.